We have massive news coming out of Montreal with a huge update being provided on Patrik Laine's injury status. This is going to play a huge factor on the Habs for the rest of the season with a highly anticipated debut soon coming. Plus, the Habs have a hidden gem as a star has emerged amongst their prospect pool, and we're going to break it all down for you guys coming up on this episode of Hattrick HQ. But before we get into it, we got to say that 91% of you guys watching these videos aren't subscribed to the channel, so if you're not subscribed already, you want to stay up on the latest NHL content, make sure you go down below and hit that subscribe button. But Darius, with that said, we got to jump right into this Patrik Laine report because it is what every Habs fan wanted to hear. Patrik Laine rejoins the Habs practice for the first time in a regular practice jersey, and as the day went on, we got to see video of him in practice with the boys, finally being back out there on the ice since that devastating injury he suffered in the preseason. I mean, everybody was so excited today. There was a lot of Habs fans like, yes, it's finally happening. We're finally getting to see number 92 on the ice. But then we got some bad news from Coach Marty St. Louis. Coach Marty, he said, when asked, is Laine going to return this week? He said, I would say no, which had dampened the spirits of a lot of Montreal Canadiens fans. But I mean, Darius, just hearing that Patrik Laine is back on the ice in a regular practice jersey is big news in itself.
This is big news for Montreal Canadiens fans. This is a highly anticipated debut that unfortunately has been pushed back about 3 months. And I mean, he's returned to skating, and not just skating, obviously in practice. He's returned to practice. So that's really good news if you're a Montreal Canadiens fan. At this point, it looks like he's actually ahead of schedule, right? Like, we're at the end of November here, and it was looking like he was going to return around Christmas time, maybe even January. I was hearing January at first. So this is really good news if you're a Montreal Canadiens fan. And again, wait till he's 100%, right? The Montreal Canadiens are in no spot. They're not chasing a playoff spot right now. Will they will they chase a playoff spot by the end of the season? We don't know. It most likely not at the way that this season's going, but nonetheless, it's a highly anticipated debut for Patrik Laine, and I think Habs fans want to see him back in the lineup sooner rather than later. And I think adding him back to the lineup as well on presumably the first line right wing position will really lengthen the rest of the lineup, I think, because Kirby Dach right now playing up there on the first line. We'll get into the line combinations as well in a minute, but playing up there on the first line, I think he could play somewhere else and you might have a better dynamic with the rest of the team. And he's obviously going to add a lot of scoring as well. That's what he does. So I think him coming back will be, as you can see here, the last couple of years, not too kind to him, but I think he's ready to get back on track. And it sounds like he's excited to be at the rink again, right? Since he's become a Montreal Canadian, that's kind of what their job was, to kind of make it fun for him to be back at the rink. And it sounds like that's where it was going. Obviously, he sustains a brutal injury, but it looks like he's close to a return. It's not this week. That's disappointing, but I think he's on the right track, and it could be sooner rather than later.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's very exciting for us Habs fans. You know, everybody here on the channel knows I'm a huge Habs guy. I ordered a Patrik Laine jersey the day he was traded, and when it showed up in the mail, it was the day he got injured. So I haven't been able to break it out yet. So we need to see Patrik Laine in a full regular season game for the Montreal Canadiens. I was very high on this guy. This is a guy we've been waiting for in Montreal for a very long time. He's a guy who's going to go out there, he's going to put the puck in the back of the net, and having him amongst this young team that are all growing together is really going to be the right home for him. And I think once we see him, like you said, you don't want to rush him back until he's 100%, but once he does come back, I think we're going to see something lethal here out of Patrik Laine. I mean, over the last 5 games, the Habs haven't looked bad, but they could really use Patrik Laine here. Some of these games that they have been losing when they went on that horrible slide was like, a 1-goal game with an empty netter. Like, if they had a guy there that could score every other night and keep these games close, it would definitely benefit them. There's no doubt about that. And like you alluded to, if we get into some of the line combinations right now, I mean, it's a shambles in Montreal right now. I mean, today, Coach Marty puts Slavkovsky on the 4th line. Everything is getting shaken up. And now if you get to inject a pure goal scorer in Patrik Laine back into this lineup and really shape the core that Coach Marty wanted going into the season, I think will definitely be healthy for this team. And if you get him even on this second line with, maybe Kirby Dach and Jake Evans, maybe you try him up there on that first line with Suzuki. I think he's going to be one of those pieces that you can go shift up and down this lineup, and you can play him anywhere.
You can play him anywhere, I think, throughout a lineup, especially because of the type of player that he is. But I think he's going to play on the first line. Obviously, if you put him and Suzuki together, that's a deadly combination. I think Suzuki is one of the most underrated playmakers in the entire National Hockey League. And obviously, he's doing his thing this year, and you have a couple of good scores. Obviously, Cole Caulfield, right? But when your third leading scorer on the team is Mike Matheson, and I think Mike Matheson is a great defenseman, a great two-way defenseman as well. I think that spells trouble for your team if you're not scoring enough. And obviously, you have guys down there like Kirby Dach, maybe a little bit of a disappointing season as well. I think that this is a player that should be playing center. He's still very young and he should be playing center. He's a natural center. So I think there was a bit of, taking the pressure off of him just to get him feeling good to put him up there with Nick Suzuki. But I think when the time comes, when Patrik Laine comes back into the lineup, you're going to have lots of scoring there on the first line, or theoretically you should. Put Dach back with Cole Caulfield, see what that dynamic looks like, and it lengthens the rest of the lineup. Maybe you can end up trading Christian Dvorak as well, because obviously Jake Evans, who apparently can play center, could possibly play third line center for you at that point. So I think it really creates a lot of new opportunities for the Montreal Canadiens in a lot of different ways with him coming back from injury. So it's going to be exciting to watch, and it looks like it's going to be soon. I think that's really, really exciting for Habs fans. This is a score, the Habs have been looking for a long time. I think they've been looking for, centers for a long time and scores for a long time. And it sounds like they're very close to kind of figuring it all out. So it's exciting for Montreal.
Yeah, and as we wrap up the Laine part of the video here, I mean, before the season started, before Laine got injured, I was a big believer in Kirby Dach playing that center position. I thought that having him with Laine on that second line with whoever on the right would be a great pairing and be a really sneaky second line in the NHL. That was when I thought, Caulfield, Suzuki, and Slav were going to be as dominant, but they haven't really been so far this season, but they haven't looked horrible. I just think they just, now with these shakeups in the lines and just trying to get everything structured, it will definitely help them, and getting a guy with the skill and the talent of Patrik Laine is only going to help out with that. But before we wrap it up here, Darius, there has been a prospect that has emerged in the NCAA for the Montreal Canadiens that has been absolutely going off, and that's Michael Hage. Obviously, this is a guy that's been on a lot of Montreal Canadiens fans' radars. I mean, he was our first round pick this past draft, I believe, the 2024 draft, and so far in his first year in the NCAA with the Michigan Wolverines, in 11 games, he got eight goals, 8 assists for 16 points. I mean, Darius, the Montreal Canadiens' future is looking really good. I mean, we got the Meedoff going off over there in Europe. We got Michael Hage going off over here in North America. It's looking good, definitely for the Montreal Canadiens going forward, no doubt about it.
It is. This is a player I believe dropped to the Montreal Canadiens. I think he fell in the draft. I think he should have went way higher than he did. He's a really, really good player. And like you mentioned, tearing it up this year in university. So he's taken that next step. It's very difficult. I think, a lot of people don't really think about it, but it's a lot more difficult to put up points in the NCAA than maybe the OHL, for example, or WHL. That's just how I feel about it, and usually what you see other players dealing with. So I think it's harder to put up points in those leagues. And again, I think he fell to the Montreal Canadiens. He's a guy that I was hoping the Toronto Maple Leafs were going to get, and unfortunately Montreal were picking before them, and he fell to the Montreal Canadiens. But again, this is a really, really good player that Habs fans should keep their eye on. Obviously, there's maybe bigger names in the system right now, but this is a guy to keep close tabs on, because yes, he's a smaller player, but he can get the job done. He plays with an edge, and he grew up a Habs fan as well. It's a really good feel-good story as well. So, Habs fans should continue to follow his development, and I think one day soon he will be a Montreal Canadien.
Yeah, you could definitely see the emotion on this guy's face when he was drafted to Montreal, and I think that's, his dream as a kid was to play for the Habs. So now that's leading him to work even harder and just prove that he deserves a spot on this roster, and he's definitely done that. There's no doubt about it. Like you said, the college hockey right now, it's not a chumps league. I mean, there are a lot of great prospects in the NCAA right now, and you're playing against the best prospects in hockey, and when you're dominating this well so early on to the season, it's only going to lead to good things here for not just Michael Hage, but for the Michigan Wolverines. I mean, this team is going to be looking good with this guy centering their lineup, but I'm really excited to see how he does finish the rest of this season in NCAA. But since every Habs fan's distracted with the Meedoff, we had to throw in a bit of Michael Hage love, because this guy is playing absolutely absolutely amazing. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure down below, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Around the road for 7,000 subscribers. We appreciate it. We already got the 6,000 our goal. Like, we are 6,000 was our goal for like 2 weeks, and we hit it in 2 weeks. So like, we're like on the road for like 10,000 by Christmas, I guess, at this rate. So if you guys are enjoying the content here, you want to keep up on everything happening around the league, hit that subscribe button and comment down below. Let us know your thoughts on Laine. What do you think the lines are going to look like when he comes back? Let us know down below. If you want to check out a video we did the other day, it'll be popping up on your screen right now. But as always, I've been your host, KC, alongside my co-host, Darius. We'll catch you in the next one.